Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the UFC 163 Aldo versus Korean Zombie media conference call. As you know, UFC 163 takes place Saturday, August 3rd from the SBC Arena in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and it will air live on pay-per-view at 10 p.m. in the East and 7 in the West, with the FX prelims beginning at 8 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Pacific. Today on the call, we're joined by current UFC featherweight champion Jose Aldo, as well as title contender the Korean Zombie Chan Sung-jung, prior to their 5-round main event bout. Additionally, we have top 10 light heavyweights Lyoto Machida and Phil Davis, who are also on the call. At this time, I'd like to turn the call over to UFC Managing Director of International Business, Marshall Zelaznik.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure for us to be here. Thanks to all the fighters for joining as well. So why don't we just kick it off with some questions, and we'll turn it over to the operator to manage that.
Great. Keith, just 1 second before that, so that everyone on the call is aware, we do have translators ready and available. Derek Lee will be providing Portuguese translation, while Brian Ree will be assisting with Korean translation.
We'll take our first question from Matt Erickson with MMAJunkie.com.
Hi, thanks for being on the call today, guys. Derek, a quick question for Jose, if I could, please. I believe he said in the past that he doesn't think that Anthony Pettis should have been able to jump the line right into a title shot down at featherweight. Now he doesn't have to fight him, obviously, but with the opponent change, did he think that the Korean Zombie should have been the next in line, or did he think it should have been somebody else?
Ô, Júnior, você já tinha falado antes que você não concordava com o Pettis pular a fila para lutar pelo cinturão. Você acha que o Zumbi merece essa chance, ou quem seria o próximo contender?
Então, acho que sim, né? Eu acho que ele é um peso pena, que ele é um primeiro da UFC, então ele fez, por onde mereceu essa chance, né? Então, acho justo sim, ele está discutindo o cinturão, então tem outros também que estão discutindo esse ano.
Yeah, I think he's fought his way through. He's deserved to be there, and he's shown that he deserves to be the contender. Everyone wants to fight for the title, but right now he deserves.
And then in terms of his preparation for Pettis versus preparation for the Korean Zombie, did he have to change anything up drastically in his training camp? And if so, can you elaborate a little bit on what that process was like?
E a preparação para a luta, você teve que mudar alguma coisa no treinamento que era para o Pettis, agora para encarar o Zumbi?
Então, né, a gente mudou, mas não praticamente tudo, né, velho? A gente já vem treinando já para lutar com o Anthony, e o Anthony machucou, então, sem isso a gente fez algumas mudanças, né, pelo fato que o jogo do ano só era único, então a gente teve que dar uma adaptação, mas não mudou muita coisa também, não. Acho que o jogo foi apresentar, então isso favoreceu mais o jogo, mas foi tranquilo, não teve que mudar totalmente, né.
I was already in the groove of training for Pettis, but unfortunately he got hurt. So we did have to adjust a few things. They have different styles, but it's a bit. I was already in training and I was already prepared. So just adjusting those final details.
Okay, thanks, Derek, and thanks, Jose. If I could move real quick to one for the Zombie. Was there any concern about coming back after being out for so long and having to jump right into a title fight with somebody, as decorated as Jose Aldo is?
오래지고 나서 알도가 한선 돼서 좀 걱정되나? No, not really. It gave him a lot of time. It gave me a lot of time to prepare mentally and physically to get my injuries all healed up, and so I think the time off actually helped benefit me.
And then he also had said that he was a little surprised that he was the one that got the call to step in when Pettis was out. How long did it take him to get over that kind of initial surprise and be pretty excited that he had a title shot all of a sudden?
처음에 소식 들었을 때 알도랑 할 거라고 소식 들었을 때 좀 놀랍다고 얘기를 하는데, 근데 그 상태는 얼마나 갔어? 좀 진정될 때까지 얼마나 좀 At first, I was really in disbelief about it, and so until Dana White actually announced that I was going to be in the fight, I actually didn't really even believe that it was true. But the excitement lasted quite a while.
Okay, so thanks very much. And then if I could just do a real quick one for Marshall. Marshall, there's kind of a rumored show for October 9th in Brazil. I'm wondering if you can comment yet about where that might be held at, or if that's a legit rumor. And if you can't comment on it, can you talk a little bit about, the UFC kind of upping the ante with events in Brazil this year and the push down there with the frequency of events going on?
Yeah, we are, as you know, we've got our event in September in Belo Horizonte, which just went on sale. So for us, now we have effectively 2 events on sale in Brazil at the same time. We, as you point out, we are bringing more events to Brazil as far as October is concerned. We're not in a position to confirm anything. I think you've probably heard me mention in the past that venues are always an issue for us, is trying to find the right venue that fits into our schedule. And while we do have plans to bring more events beyond the 2 that are currently on sale, we don't have any dates or venues yet committed for those. So I don't have any information there, but in reference to your last question, or the second part of your question, is the one thing we know is that there's an appetite in Brazil for UFC live events. Between our partners with Globo and Globosat and Combat Channel, there's also a huge demand for television media to cover the event. So we're trying to satisfy all the demands there, and we are committed for this year and for the years to follow to bring 5+ events into the region. So I see that happening. I see us bringing more events. I think after the World Cup and certainly the Olympics, more venues will become available to us. But we've now got a very strong foundation in Brazil, and we're going to keep bringing events there. We've got amazing Brazilian talent that the fans there want to see, so we're going to do our job to bring them their fellow countrymen and watch them fight.
Great. Thanks, Marshall. Really appreciate it. Thanks.
Thanks.
We'll take our next question from Damon Martin with BleacherReports.com.
First question is for Jose Aldo. Jose, when this fight was announced back in February and it was Anthony Pettis, Dana White had said if you win, you would get a lightweight title shot, and I know that was something you had discussed as well. I know the fight has changed, but is that something you're still thinking about if you win this fight, moving to lightweight and shooting for the title there?
Ô, Júnior, quando anunciaram a luta com o Pettis, o Dana falou que você ganhando, ele ia te dar a oportunidade de lutar no peso leve, lutar pelo cinturão. E agora que mudou essa luta, você ainda pensa em subir de peso e lutar pelo cinturão?
Então, Derek, pessoal pensa, né, cara, mas agora eu acho que o meu pensamento agora tá voltado para a próxima luta, né? Então eu não tô lutando, então eu tô focado nisso, então eu não tô pensando se vou subir ou não. Acho que depois da luta eu acho que é mais fácil responder a pergunta, pelo fato que eu sei como é que foi, mas primeiramente eu vou dar um passo por cada vez. Primeiro eu quero vencer a próxima luta, aí sim, depois eu vou saber se eu vou subir ou não.
It's hard to say right now. I want to take one step at a time. I want to focus on the fight I have on August 3rd against the Korean Zombie, and we'll see what happens from there, if I'm going to make the move or I stay in my weight class. So I have to take one step at a time.
So that is a decision that would be made after this fight?
Então, a decisão que você só toma depois dessa luta.
Exatamente, não tem como eu dar um passo mais que a perna, então acho que eu vou ter um passo a passo. Então, primeiramente, eu tenho que fazer minha próxima luta, que é no peso pena. Aí sim, futuramente, eu vou pensar no peso leve. Por enquanto, eu estou pensando no peso pena ainda, porque eu já tenho uma luta em seguida. Então, eu acho que eu respeito o meu adversário. Primeiramente, eu tenho que vencê-lo, para depois pensar assim, em subir de categoria.
Exactly. I can't try to take too big of a step, and I got to focus on my next opponent to be able to make a decision. I respect my opponent, and I can't overlook him.
And one question for Lyoto Machida. You were kind of in a little bit of a situation there where you were supposed to get a title shot against John Jones. Some things changed. Now you're in this fight. Does it change any of the motivation when you're not in that number one contender spot, or do you still feel like you deserve that title shot and maybe you should be getting that title shot now?
Joe, estavam falando muito de você, seu próximo desafiante do John Jones. Muda um pouco a tua motivação. Você não está lutando pelo cinturão e você acha que você ainda merece estar lutando pelo cinturão?
Eu acho que eu mereço estar lutando pelo cinturão, mas minha motivação é a mesma, é sempre grande. E eu tenho mais uma motivação de querer lutar pelo cinturão no futuro, né? Que é vencer essa luta. Então, minha motivação continua alta e não importa. Se não deu para ser agora, vai chegar o momento.
Yeah, I want to fight for the title, but my motivation is still there. I mean, there's still motivation to win this fight and get through it, and then go and fight for the title. So yeah, the motivation is always at a high.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, guys.
We'll take our next question from Heidi Fang with MMA Fight Corner.
Hello. Thank you for the time. My first question is for Phil Davis. Where do you see yourself stacking up with the win? Pretty much against Lyoto, a lot of people see him as the top contender. So where do you see yourself fitting in the picture?
Sorry about that. It took me a moment to get off mute. I don't really know where I fit in the whole title contention picture thing. I don't really go by the rankings. I looked at the rankings once. I was disappointed, so I never looked at them again. And, I just kind of go by fight by fight. I won my last fight. I really wanted to get a finish. I'm going to win this fight, and if I get a finish, it'll put me a lot further along than a loss or a win will.
And Lyoto, as everybody knows, has a elusive stand-up style, and we know that you're very strong in the ground game and with your wrestling. How much have you prepared for his style, and have you brought anybody into this camp to help you emulate what he does? Hello? Did we lose Phil?
Phil, are you there? That question was for you.
That question was for me?
Yeah, that was for you.
Oh, I thought that was, okay, my bad. Is there that someone?
Yeah, no, go ahead, Phil.
I brought in a couple of people to help me get a feel for what he does, but really nobody can really do what he does. He does it better than anybody. He has a very unique style, and he's a guy that's really good at a certain set of skills, and I don't necessarily have to fight a guy like him in order to win. I just have to be on my A game and be extremely good at what I do.
Okay. Good. Thank you for the time.
We'll take our next question from Franklin McNeil with ESPN.
Hey, hi guys. My question is for both Phil Davis and Lyoto Machida. Both of you guys are primed to fight for a title with a victory on next week. But recently I spoke to Daniel Cormier, and he's made it very clear that if he beats if he beats Roy Nelson, he is going to seek a title shot at light heavyweight, in essence, moving ahead of you guys. And I want to get your opinions of him possibly cutting in front of you for a title shot.
Well, it's funny you asked that, Franklin. I was just wondering that same thing. But you know what? I don't really mind if he cuts the line or not. Really, what it comes down to is being able to sell a fight and being able to perform good. And after this fight, I think the fans are going to be begging for me to fight for the title, and that's as simple as it gets.
And Lyoto?
Yep.
Can you answer that question?
Derek is online?
Sorry,
we are trying to reconnect him, and I think he's about to join us. One moment.
Okay.
Franklin, you might just have to...
Derek Lee has rejoined us, so if you want to repeat that question, he can translate.
I'm here.
I will. Derek, with Phil and Phil Davis primed to land a title shot with a victory, Daniel Cormier told me recently that he intends to cut the line at light heavyweight, move down from heavyweight to light heavyweight, and cut the line for a title shot should he defeat Roy Nelson. And I wanted to get Lyoto's thoughts on the possibility of being moved ahead of Daniel Cormier.
Lyoto, o Daniel Cormier falou há pouco tempo que ia cortar a fila da categoria do peso meio médio, que quando ele acabasse essa luta agora ele vai descer de peso e cortar a fila e querer lutar pelo cinturão. O que você pensa disso?
Assim, eu acho que existe um ranking, né? Tem que ser obedecido. Se ele descer agora, ele vai ter que fazer pelo menos umas 2 lutas, ou então uma luta super importante para poder ter essa oportunidade de lutar pelo cinturão. Eu acho que o UFC não vai permitir ele descer e vir direto, até porque tem muita gente na fila. Né? Eu já estou esperando já um tempo aí, não tive oportunidade, quer dizer, lutar algumas vezes aí, então eu estou esperando a minha vez. Né? O Grove é um cara que está subindo também, tem o Phil Davis também, que é um cara que está contendo aí, então acho que não é bem por aí.
I believe that. I believe there's a ranking and it should be followed. I mean, there's a lot of guys in line right now in this weight class to fight for a title. I've been waiting in line. There's Glover Teixeira, there's Phil Davis. So there's a lot of guys in there in the mix. And if he's going to move down to 205, he's going to need to put a couple fights in or at least have a significant win in a big fight. And I don't think it's right for him to just come in and cut the line. So I think he's going to have to show that he deserves that title shot.
Thank you. My final question is for Korean Zombie. I want to know, when he got this fight, there were those who thought Lamas should have gotten the opportunity to fight for a title. And I want to know why he believes the right choice for this fight.
많은 사람들이 라마스가 먼저 이 시합을 들어왔어야 된다고 생각하는데, 근데 본인 생각에는 왜 네가 맞는 선택이라고 생각해? To be honest with you, I thought that Lamas would have been the first choice as well. But that I'm happy to have been chosen. I think that maybe what made a difference was the stylistic matchup, and I think that this fight is guaranteed to be an exciting fight, and that's probably one of the big reasons why they chose me over Lamas.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, all of you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to ask a question, star 1 on your telephone, please. Star 1 for questions. We'll take our next question from John Hedit with Fighters.com. John, please check your mute button. We do not hear your response.
Hello?
Yes, sir. I can hear you now.
Oh, sorry about that. I only have one question for Young. I wanted to know what the response has been like in Korea with regarding this fight.
지금 한국의 이 시합에 대해서 반응이 어떤가요? In particular, in MMA circles, it's just probably one of the biggest things that's happened in Korean MMA. Overall, there's been quite a bit of response from the mass media as well, and from the general public. People seem to be very interested, not only in the fight, but getting more and more interested in MMA as well.
All right, thank you very much.
We'll take our next question from Brian Heminger with MMAWeekly.com.
Yes, my question is for Phil. You were in a very similar situation before, when you fought Rashad Evans. He was a top contender then too. So, is there anything that you really learned from that fight that you were going to take into this fight, even though they're different fighters?
I'm sorry, can you tell me that question again?
Sorry about that. Phil, you were in a very similar situation before against Rashad Evans, being a top contender. So is there anything you kind of learned from that fight that you want to take into this one, considering even though, Lyoto is a different fighter?
Absolutely. There's a lot I can take from Rashad Evans' part. Number one, I know what not to do. Most importantly, I should say, I know what not to do. And I can also take from that, I did lose to the number one contender at that time, but I didn't get beat up. And that's always good. Not getting beat up is part of the game. At least that's my favorite part of the game. So, how I'm going to fight this Lyoto Machida, I really don't know. They're two completely different guys. They don't fight alike. They don't act alike. They don't talk alike. I'm just going to go out there and do what I need to do, wrap this guy up.